Welcome to the Inside Lane on Sports 360 AZ. I'm your host, Devon Henry, getting ready for championship weekend, November 6th, 7th, and 8th at Phoenix Raceway for, of course, the NASCAR Cup, Xfinity, Truck, and the ARCA West Series. And today we're talking to someone whose playoff hopes pretty dang good because he's already in the playoffs and now he's getting ready to fight for a championship. Join us on the Inside Lane. He is the 2016 ARCA Menards Series Champion, a 2017 Chili Bowl A-Main qualifier, and an 8-time winner in the NASCAR Xfinity Series. Driver of the Stewart-Haas Racing number 98 Ford Mustang, the third-generation racer from Mitchell, Indiana, it's Chase Briscoe. Chase, thanks for joining me, man.
Yeah, man, no problem. Thanks for having me. That was a heck of an intro.
Hey, man, well, I kind of got to get you back to your dirt racing roots. We got to talk a little bit about that. But first of all, looking back at Daytona, third-place finish last weekend, has the heart rate come back down yet, finishing third at that wild wreck of a finish?
Yeah, the whole race was really a wreck fest. It took us forever just to get going. It seemed like we had caution after caution, and then those last 20 laps, we kind of slowly started coming back, getting our minds right, and then the last lap was obviously chaos. And yeah, I think I went from third to 10th back to third on the last 2 laps. So it's always crazy anytime you go to Daytona or Talladega, and Talladega is going to be even crazier in the playoffs than Daytona was. So those racetracks definitely get your heart rate up, that's for sure.
Well, I want to start off with probably my favorite thing about you, and that's, every autograph, every selfie, for every single fan, you're there like, you get it. You get it with the fans. And that's probably my favorite thing about you. And Phoenix Raceway, super fan-friendly, has that $178 million in modernization to kind of let the fans come in and check out the garage. In your mind, how important is it for NASCAR to have these tracks like Richmond, Talladega, and Phoenix, making these really fan-friendly, fan-interactive tracks to let the fans go and interact with their favorite drivers?
Yeah, I think it's huge. And like you said, I feel like those 3 racetracks with their, their modernization of kind of how they do their fan zone with it being right there in the garage area, it's huge. All the fans always want to come down and see, what's going on in the garages, especially during practice. And, I think that's one way to really get fans hooked is they see how much goes behind the scenes of getting these race cars on the racetrack. And, the closer you can get fans to the race cars and the drivers, the better. And, I love going to Phoenix or, Richmond, any of these places where, you got to walk to your car and you're walking through the fan zone. It makes it so cool when you have all the fans around you. And I think Phoenix is one of the best ones, personally, just with how it's set up with the garage area right there. You can walk right into the garage literally and watch the teams work. They have the little stage back there where we come and do our interviews and whatnot. Victory lanes right there. I think it's probably one of the coolest victory lanes we have in all the sports. So, yeah, Phoenix is one of the coolest ones, I think, and it's going to be crazy for championship weekend, that's for sure.
Going to be a big race, but first things first, going back to Darlington this week. And obviously, last time we were at Darlington, really big race for you. Not only NASCAR's return to racing, but also defeating Kyle Busch. And you just had, you and your wife, a great, really strong package on NASCAR Race Hub. You and your wife, Marissa, talking about how you guys had that miscarriage the day before and how big of a race that really was for you. When you walk back through that gate this weekend, what will you kind of look back on and appreciate the most from that day?
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see where my emotions are going back to that place, just because, that day was, at Darlington is where I found out. And then obviously to go back, 2 days later and get a win there. So yeah, I'm not sure what my emotions will be. I'm sure they're not going to be like a normal race, but yeah, I think Darlington will, throughout my entire career hold such a special place, obviously for that win, but also for, I still remember what parking, where I was parked at when I found out, being on FaceTime with her when she was at the doctor's office. So, I think Darlington, I'll always remember all those feelings every time I go back, but Darlington is one of my favorite racetracks as well, and I'm excited to go back this coming weekend. Hopefully we can have the same result. I feel like our cars are really good every time we go there. And, hopefully it'll be a little less dramatic than it was last time, but hopefully we can have the same result.
And Darlington, just one of your 6 wins so far this season. Looking back to last year, what do you think has been the biggest difference for you and your team going from last year and kind of breaking out and being a championship favorite this season?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was just, having that experience finally. Last year was still going to the first time to a lot of these racetracks. I'd never even ran Darlington until last year, and just now being able to go to these tracks for the second, third, fourth time, have that notebook as well of, okay, this setup wise, what works well for us here. This might not be what doesn't work well for us here, especially now how COVID's really impacted no practice. I think that's been a big deal for our team. And then on top of that, just confidence going to the racetrack, feeling week in and week out that you can go there and win the race, and that goes a long way.
And, of course, in the playoffs is the Roval, and you've turned yourself into a road course ringer, apparently. You win the first race of the Charlotte Roval. You win the first race for the Xfinity Series at the Indianapolis Road Course, which I know was a big win at your home track. But even at your race at Dover that you won, in all three races you mentioned that it felt like you were driving a sprint car. Can you please elaborate for me a little bit more on how driving a sprint car equates to turning right at road courses? And I don't think that stagger would help at a track like Dover. Can you please help me understand a little bit more how your sprint car experience has helped you in some of these wins?
Yeah, the road course deal, it reminds me a lot of sprint car racing for whatever reason. I think you're just so up on the wheel at these places. You're honestly sliding the car a lot more than people would realize. It seems like, how you're hopping the curves. We're up on three wheels. Just the throttle control it takes to keep the tires underneath you. It reminds me of being on a slick dirt track. And, I feel like the road course thing, ever since I've kind of understood that a lot more, has helped. And then Dover, it was a little bit different. I just felt like I found a little tiny strip of grit. It was literally 2 or 3 inches wide, where I could get my left front tire, and it would really help me turn. And it just reminded me of going back sprint car racing whenever, there might be a 6-inch strip of moisture where the dirt just has a little bit more grip, and you had to find it and get your left rear tire in it or whatnot. So, yeah, I always say it correlates over. I don't know if it really does or if I'm the only one that feels it, but I feel like it does anyways, and it always reminds me of sprint car racing. So the sprint car racing is definitely, I feel like, been a huge teaching tool for me to go stock car racing. And, I'm looking forward to going back to the Roval just for that reason. It's one of the most fun racetracks we go to from inside the seat, just with how much you're up on the wheel. And, the curbs are huge there, so it's always fun.
So I think that you have my favorite pit board in NASCAR. Throwback to your dad's sprint car. That's your pit board. Your Shelby helmet. I'm like, that is a wild, cool-looking helmet, that Shelby helmet is. But I'm curious, have you been able to get your dirt itch? I know you dirt guys like to go back, and, even Ryan Newman's got to go back and get a little bit of dirt. And I know this year has been extremely strange. Have you been able to get that dirt itch scratched a little bit this year?
Yeah, not like I'd like. I just went and ran a mini sprint at Millbridge this past Wednesday night, and didn't even make the show out of the B-main. So I'm a little rusty, I think. But I'm looking forward to, as soon as the season's over, hopefully they'll have the DuQuoin race in December and obviously St. Louis, but then most importantly the Chili Bowl. Hopefully we're able to run the Chili Bowl this year. The last 2 years I've literally missed the race by 1 spot. So I'd love to go back and try to get some redemption, and hopefully we can have the Chili Bowl this year. But, yeah, I haven't really got to run any dirt races this year. I always normally run the Eldora truck race, and then obviously with that getting canceled even, I wasn't able to do that. So, I hate that I haven't been able to go run any dirt stuff, but at the same time, since that Darlington weekend in May, we haven't had a weekend off and won't have a weekend off until after Phoenix. So there's really not been any time to even go dirt racing, truthfully. So I've been – like I said, I went and ran last Wednesday at Millbridge here in a mini sprint, and they run almost every Wednesday night. So that's about my only off time I get is on Wednesday night. So I've been trying to go over there as much as I can and run that thing.
Talking with Chase Briscoe here on the inside lane, going over what's coming up, the Xfinity Series playoffs, driver of the number 98 Stewart-Haas Racing Ford Mustang. Before I let you go, Chase, got to do a segment I call Quick Time. Do it with every single driver. Got some rapid-fire questions for you, looking for some answers in return. Some of these are factual, but most of these are just your opinion. You ready to set Quick Time?
All right. Yeah, let's do it.
All righty. First and foremost, your favorite track to race at regardless of the car?
Hopstad, Indiana. Tri-State Speedway.
That's a good pick. Why? There's so many great tracks in Indiana.
Yeah, I've always loved that place. It's a bull ring, long straightaway, tight corner, got a wall all the way around. You can run top, bottom, middle. I've just always enjoyed going there. It was one of my childhood tracks, and if I could pick anywhere to run a sprint car, that would always be my number one track to go run at if I ever have an off weekend.
Okay, so I mentioned you're a third-generation racer. Obviously, your grandpa contributed a ton to the sprint car world and was an owner for a very long time. First ever USAC Sprint Car National Series win was at Kokomo with Jack Hewitt back in 1984. But at what track did your grandfather, Richard Briscoe, win his first USAC National Series race with your father, Kevin, behind the wheel? What track was that? Do you know it?
Man, I didn't even know the Jack Hewitt thing. I got to figure out where you find all this. But if I had to guess, I would say Lawrenceburg, if I had to guess.
That's a good guess because, I mean, throughout Indiana, apparently the Briscoes were pretty damn good there.
It had to be Lawrenceburg, Bloomington, or Paragon, if I had to just take a wild guess.
That one, Paragon.
Paragon?
Yep,
Yeah,
that was the first race.
Three.
First race, I shouldn't say first ever, but the first race that your grandfather won a race as an owner with your dad behind the wheel. And I'm really curious about this question. What NASCAR driver do you most want to convince to go dirt racing with you who hasn't before?
Well, Kyle Busch has done it before, but, I mean, he's the one guy I would love to see in a sprint car. I think he would be really good. I'm trying to think. Jimmy Johnson, I would love to see him in a sprint car. I know both of them guys have ran the Prelude to the Dream before and ran some other dirt stuff, but those would be the two guys. I would love to see them in a sprint car. I would say Tyler Reddick, but I actually raced against Tyler in a sprint car. He ran for literally 2 months in a sprint car when he was 12 and I was 13. But I'd love to see Tyler come back and do it as well.
That'd be fun because I know that I listened to an interview with you and Jeff Gluck, and so I know that you go and you try to recruit a little bit.
I try. It doesn't go anywhere ever, but I would love to see more guys do it just to try and see what they think.
And last one for you here, or second to last one. I know that you tried to be a USAC owner with the People's Champ Dave Darlington behind the wheel a couple of years ago. But what is your interest level in trying to do something like Kyle Larson, Casey Kane, Clint Boyer, Tony Stewart, and own a dirt team while racing in NASCAR?
Yeah, I would love to do it. I would love to do it again down the road. You know, the sponsorship stuff just fell through with, Dave. We had Meserol there for a little while and CV, and I loved having the sprint car team. I wish we could have raced the full USAC schedule instead of just running hit and miss stuff. But, yeah, I would love to down the road start it back up again. And who knows, I would love to do it. There's definitely interest from, me and my grandfather still and my dad and a lot of people that would love, I would think, to see it back out there. So I would love to do it again. It's just a matter of if we can make it make sense.
Got to get that 5-car back out there. Last one for you here. If you have the opportunity to race for a championship at Phoenix in the Desert Diamond 200 on November 7th, what do you think will be the biggest hurdle to overcome that weekend?
I think just the racetrack. I've, for whatever reason, never been the best at Phoenix. It's one of the racetracks that I just never feel like I can get the balance how I want it. And, truthfully, without practice, I think it's going to be, I don't know. It's either going to be a positive for me because I feel like a lot of the time I probably tune myself out of what I need there, but it also could be a negative because if you don't start off good, then, you're going to be very limited on what you can do in the race to get your car better. So who knows? My team's been really good all throughout the season of making our car really good off the truck, and I'm sure Phoenix, they'll do the same thing. So I would say that'll be the biggest thing is just seeing guys, setup-wise, do they get aggressive and try something new, or do they try something that they know works but maybe isn't the best there? So it'll be fun to watch. Phoenix is going to be crazy with it being a short track and how the restarts work. Now they have the choose cone. That's going to be crazy come championship weekend. So there's a lot of variables that are going to go into that race. And, another one's even the PJ1, the stuff they put down on the racetrack, where they put that at. So there's a lot going on when you go to Phoenix, and hopefully we can hit it all right.
Well, Chase, I could go on and on with you. I'd love to talk more about iRacing. I know you're on Reddit. Not a lot of NASCAR guys on Reddit.
Guy.
I would love to go more into your dirt roots. And, of course, I didn't get to talk about your Frenchies, so I feel kind of bad about that. I like to talk about drivers and their dogs. So hopefully another time, man, because I still got plenty more that I'd love to talk to you about, man.
Yeah, heck yeah, we can do it anytime.
Sounds good. Well, hey, best of luck to you and Marissa getting that fourth-generation racer all together and bringing one up here soon, man. Really hoping for you guys. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Absolutely. Chase Briscoe, hope to see you racing for a championship here at Phoenix in the Desert Diamond 200. This is Sports 360 AZ and the Inside Lane. Keep it to Sports 360 AZ for the rest of the year to learn more about what's going on championship weekend.